Welcome back, everybody, to All Things Rangers. I am Mark Williams, your host, and I am joined by two hosts again, the illustrious Mr. John Filkowski.
Adam Fox for Norris. All I'm going to say.
And our resident Islanders contributor, Mr. Anthony LaRocco.
Go get Kyle Palmieri.
It has been a very interesting week, especially for both teams. We're obviously going to start with the New York Rangers. And where it's a very bookended week for them. They blew out the Flyers yet again. I mean, it was starting to become commonplace. And we're on their way to doing it again, but then the Flyers remembered how to play hockey. And they beat the Rangers Saturday afternoon. So then came the return of David Quinn. It was about as good as one of those Twilight movies or one of the new Star Wars. I mean, now the Rise of Skywalker. That was probably better than David Quinn coming back, because what the Rangers fans were treated to was a 4-0 deficit. Nice job. And then they almost came back to tie the game. Almost, but they didn't. They lost in regulation. So what happens next? You go to the Garden. You face those same Capitals. Go down 2-0, and another one of those moments of, oh no, what's going to happen now? But then Artemi Panarin showed why he was an MVP candidate, a goal and 2 assists in the third period to lead the Rangers to a victory. John, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the wins, or you want to go with the losses?
I'll just do it chronologically. The Flyers game, the 8-3 blowout was okay. Like, They went and they just picked right where they left off, but Philadelphia started to remember how to play hockey in that game, and the PK looked bad for the first time all season, really. And so Philadelphia looked like they were trying to get back into that game, and then the Rangers just snuffed it out. So good win. The Philly, when they're down, I can't put too much stock into that. And then comes the second game where they take the 1-0 lead on the Zibanejad power play goal. Beautiful pass from Strome. Thought, all right, you know what? We're on our way to, we're gonna win this game, but we're not gonna win it handily the way that they won it the previous 2 times. And then Philadelphia said, no, we know how to play hockey again, and they took that game over, and that was probably. That was probably the worst effort I've seen under Knoblauch. So, and then the Capitals game came, and they could have won that game. That game that they lost 2-1. They could have won that game, and they didn't win that game. But they somehow won the game that they shouldn't have won when Zibanejad manhandled Brendan Dillon. That was weird. That was really weird to win that game. So here's my question. They come out and they play solid under Knoblauch. 54 of 60 minutes of that game that they lost to the Capitals 2-1 was them controlling the game. Washington didn't have many great shots. And then they got those 2 chances where Ovechkin decided it was going to be Ovechkin. Okay, so why is it that Knoblauch can get them to get up for games, but Quinn has them playing 40 minutes of bad hockey and then 20 minutes of really good hockey in the third period against the same team 2 games in a row? If you're not at least questioning that, there's something wrong with you.
I'll field this one before I ask Anthony some of his thoughts. We're not going to do an entire segment on things we disagree with on David Quinn. We're almost getting to the point where we need a jingle. Oh no, we disagree with David Quinn. Again, the thing that comes to mind about the Sunday game is, where the hell was Alexander Georgiev? I can't say that enough. So right now, as of right now, the game you referenced was Alexander Georgiev. Yeah, Keith Kincaid started it. The game you referenced that was 2-1, and Ovechkin scored 2 goals. That wasn't last Friday. That was the Friday before. That was the last game Alexander Georgiev started. So you're telling me the number 2 goalie in this team, in this organization, is going to start 1 game in 2 weeks? Are we mid-90s Mike Keenan? So, okay. So let's get that one straight. So we're going to go with Keith Kincaid. And I heard somebody tell me, oh, the Rangers brass now thinks better of Keith Kincaid. You're kidding me, right? That's another one. He's on this roster for one reason, to be exposed for the expansion draft. I mean, again, that's another one. He's played decently. He's won 3 games. I didn't even bother looking up his stats. He's 3-2, and the 2 games he lost were terrible. So why are we focusing on him? And then Alexei Lafreniere's ice time. If you want to get on that, and I will get on that, and even some of the ways he's treated Kakko, you gotta. There we go. That's a nice shirt. You gotta give these guys ice time, especially to try to at least develop them. They don't develop from the bench. I mean, if that's the case, I'd be an excellent golfer. I'd be scratched from watching all those videos that I've watched on golf. But unfortunately, the Rangers are just like my golf game. It's when things are going bad, I'll get a double bogey and then a triple bogey, and then the next thing I know, I'm shooting a 110. Or I hit a couple pars, and the next thing I know, I'm shooting an 87. Get some consistency, and that's what coaching comes into play.
That's my thing, though. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but
don't cut me off. I would go on forever.
Like we literally saw the Islanders try a 3 goalie rotation. What, like 5, 6, 7 years ago it was that they tried doing that, Anthony?
It was with JF Berube, Halak, and Grice. So you're probably I think you're 6.
You ever
the 15-16 season?
But still, we've seen enough historical evidence recently that a 3 goalie rotation doesn't work. And don't tell me last year's Rangers was a 3 goalie rotation, because Henrik Lundqvist started 1 game in the final 20. 1 game, and that was only out of necessity because Alexander Georgiev had started 9 games in a row and got burned out, and he was done. So don't give me that. And the whole thing with the ice time, and I've been saying this from the start, you cannot have kids going out there trying to play mistake-free hockey. What rookie has ever played mistake-free hockey? And Julian Gauthier just recently said that. He's afraid to make mistakes because he's going to get stapled to the bench. You can't keep doing this to these kids. That's not how they're going to develop. It's not. That's why Quinn has to go.
So John touched on the first thing I was going to bring up was the 3 goalie rotation. It does not work, and I was scratching my head where Georgiev was when Kincaid started that game against Washington. And truthfully, if he doesn't start that game, maybe you don't lose 5-4. Maybe you win that game. So I don't know. He had no business starting that game. I mean, I can understand if Georgiev was hurt, obviously. Okay, play him. But it just doesn't make sense to me why Kincaid's getting the start right now. He should be back in Hartford or on the taxi squad or wherever. He shouldn't be playing. It should be Shesterkin getting 80% of the starts and Georgiev the 20. So I don't know what he's doing there. I was impressed with their win over the Capitals. For my Islanders, we struggle against them this year. You guys own them, and just take some plays out of your playbook there. Hopefully they can tomorrow when they play. But I thought the Rangers looked good in that game. The game against Philly, obviously they blew the doors off. They were clearly the dominant team. Although Philly right now is like a laughing stock. I mean, they are so bad that they almost lost to Buffalo. And yeah, they came back. They came
almost.
Back. It's good that the Rangers beat them because they needed to. I think that honestly got some of their confidence back. Zibanejad, amongst others, that put them on a good path the rest of the week. But yeah, overall the Rangers are playing good hockey. I just think that right now holding them back is David Quinn. It's pretty clear to me.
I think it's clear to all of us. I think the other. Sorry, John. We'll get to you one sec.
No.
It's just when you look at this team, you know that there's more potential on this team, and there are times where it's you got to preach patience and preach patience. But then you see decisions like the Georgiev thing. You see Colin Blackwell getting more minutes than Kaapo Kakko. So I'm done talking about some negatives when it comes to the Rangers right now. Let me talk about a couple positives, because Kaapo Kakko possibly played his finest game of the year last night. He was everywhere He had the game-tying goal. Granted, it was one I could have scored. But it was a great play by Panarin and Jerome, but it was also a good play by Kakko, working the puck and getting it all the way up. Lafreniere kicked it up when Kakko scored a goal. They couldn't help but notice that one. Of course, Artemi Panarin shows that he's an MVP candidate, and we're going to cover him a little bit more, but Adam Fox is definitely going to be a Norris Trophy candidate, I believe.
Well, I mean, if you want to look at positives, yeah, Adam Fox is playing as good as any defenseman in the NHL right now. And I firmly believe that Victor Hedman is the very best. But if you look at the numbers side by side, the analytics, they tell you that Adam Fox is playing just as good. I don't believe the eye test tells you that, because Victor Hedman is, I think, on another level defensively. I think he's the best pure shutdown defender in the game. And I think the only guy that really comes close in that margin to me is probably Jacob Slavin. I think Jacob Slavin, pound for pound, is right there with Victor Hedman in terms of pure defense. But Adam Fox he did something this month that no defender has done since Brian Leach or Brad Park. He put up 20 or 30 assists. No, 20 assists in a month. And that's nuts. That's nuts. We haven't seen that in years. And there was a list of defenders that did it since 1994. And the names on the list are only Brian Leach, Sergei Zubov, and Adam Fox. That's incredible. I mean, and you're right. Kakko, best game this season. And he was all over the place. He's creating turnovers. He's actually one of the league leaders in turnovers per 60 in the NHL, which is amazing for a second-year guy, especially someone who was not as good defensively in his first year at all. He was not a good defensive player in his first season. So for him to make the improvement that he made, and you know what? I've seen this question come up on Twitter and boards that I post on. Would you take Kaapo Kakko becoming a 60 to 70 point two-way guy like a Marc Stone? And my answer is I take that and run in a heartbeat. I run away. I'm Steve Miller Band, take the money and run. That's what I'm doing with that. So, yeah, if Kaapo Kakko turns into that and he's a 25, 30-goal guy, 60, 70 points, but he's playing Selke caliber hockey, yeah, I'm taking that. So, I mean, there's positives there, but there's one thing that I want to say before I end my part. And that is that if Keith Kinkaid is being played for any other reason than expansion draft purposes to fulfill the requirements for him to meet the expansion draft eligibility for exposure, then this organization has a major problem on how they're handling their goaltending. And that's a big, big, big problem that needs to be addressed.
So positives for the Rangers. Again, John kind of took it, but Adam Fox, as an Islander fan, I would love that guy on my team right now. And, he puts up the points, and he's solid in his own end. He's not like flashy. He's not like a Cale Makar that people are going to be like, oh, wow, look what he just did. But he's just a steady, smart guy who could chip in offensively, obviously, has great vision. And, he's really leading the Rangers from the back end right now, because it's certainly not Trouba, although he's playing better defensively. Adam Fox is probably your best all-around defenseman, I would say. And he's playing really well. And just the thing, you guys stole him from Carolina too. I mean, it's incredible at the player he became. But no, I mean, he's been great. And I mean, Shesterkin, I thought it's been pretty good too in the last couple of games he's played. I coming back from a groin injury, sometimes that could be tough with your lateral movement from side to side and having to, kick your leg out quickly. But I think he's looked pretty good the last couple of games.
You're right about that, because Shesterkin, by the way, what shows his strength in his groin right now, there was a save he made on Thursday night versus the Flyers, where Claude Giroux got the puck, and I believe it was Couturier was in the crease, and he pushed off, even got a little bit of resistance, and still made the blocker save. And he was still going laterally on that. So
he made a save against Washington where I thought he was going to hurt himself, and he looked really good on that.
all that's pointing into a good direction for the Rangers. Zibanejad waking up. Strome is still playing well. He's got a 8-game assist streak right now. Second most, I think, in franchise history. Might be.
He's got 15 points in his last 10 games.
He's producing, and I can't argue with what the production is. But you still project further and say, what exactly is this team the rest of the season and how they're going to be? Because they are definitely, I think they're going to pass Philadelphia. Question is, can they catch Boston? Boston's got 5 games against the Buffalo Sabres. That's going to make it tough.
Cake schedule.
And the Rangers got 4. So you got to win who's in front of you. That's why you can't go down to a 1-6 hole early in the season and just expect to make it out and then just say, all right, it's growing. All right. So what did you think about the New York Rangers this week? Mika Zibanejad coming alive. Is Adam Fox a Norris Trophy candidate? You know what? John says yes. I want to hear what you think. And to be honest, I think so too. So, it's Foxtional?
It's Fox for Norris.
Oh, Fox for Norris. I thought you were saying like optional, but like Foxtional. Damn internet. Anyway, but stay tuned, comment below.
Did you like that video? Of course you did. So why not check out some more of our content? You can check the playlist right here or right here.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.